So I have to react to this Facebook group. I think it was called one of the vegan groups, and it was like, we must not be silenced. Gaza is being destroyed. Blah, blah, blah. What can a vegan person possibly have in common with Gaza? Okay, let's fact check to all the progressive leftists who think that facts are not important. Number one, Gaza is ruled by Hamas. Number two, anything that happens within Gaza is solely the responsibility of Hamas, including starvation of children, Israeli hostages being kept, refusal to disarm, refusal to stop the intention of destroying Israel, and stop being terrorist group. Number three, the IDF soldiers, rescue dogs, people in Gaza torture and abuse dogs, and have kidnapped dogs and have shot dogs in the head in front of their owners. So what possible values can people from the progressive left have in common with people of Gaza? Do you enjoy shooting dogs in the head and cows and a kibbutz? Do you enjoy executing elderly people in their 80s, among them a Holocaust survivor, a peace activist who founded Women for Peace, where a Palestinian and Israeli women marched side by side and sought coexistence? Do you set fire to an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor just because she was marching a peaceful march for the release of hostages kept in Gaza? So Gaza for some people means like this heavenly place where people are being like tortured. They're like these angelic beings. Yes, there are children and babies in Gaza that have no reason to be in this situation, except the Hamas is keeping them as human shields, and allows them to be starved, to be under constant war because they refuse for a deal, and they refuse a deal, they refuse to stop fighting, they refuse to disarm, they refuse to stop their declaration they want to do an October 7 again and again and again. There's no reason for the people of Gaza's children and babies to be there. Why is it there not one country? The man that set on fire an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor, I wonder, did he ever think, did it ever occur to him, he's an Egyptian nationalist, to go to Gaza or try to put pressure on his government to take children and babies from Gaza? These are their own people. He's right. The Arabs are all one nation. What is one freaking country in the Middle East agree to take children and babies from Gaza? Why? One. Not the Queen of Jordan, who's Palestinian. Nobody wants them. Why is that? Why did Jordan actually execute Palestinians and not want them in their territories? Except the Queen is Palestinian for some reason. The reason is much deeper and, on the other hand, much simpler. Palestinians are not considered wanted and desirable citizens in any Muslim country. They're not even willing to save a baby, an innocent baby. What is more innocent than a baby or a child? And they subject them to horrible Nazi ideology. They make them dance around coffins of a baby that was kidnapped, executed and abused. So why is the finger pointed at us? What did we ever do? What did we ever do except seek peaceful solutions, coexistence, and sharing our territories with anyone of any religion, as long as they're, behave like people that are civilized and not seek violent ending to people and animals. So why would a vegan group think that Gaza is a wonderful place to embrace? Did you ever see what is done in Gaza? How they execute their own people just because they have an opinion? How they execute animals? How they, what kind of people execute a pet in front of the children and burn babies and children alive in front of their parents and the opposite and handicapped and the list is long. Why in the world would you think that Gaza is a place that you need to protect and not to protect the people of Gaza from the people that rule Gaza? Why do you point the finger at Israel, who's trying to protect the Jewish and Arab and Christian people who live here and the animals of Israel? IDF soldiers rescue dogs every day. They bring them into Israel after they've been abused there. What are they supposed to take children away from their parents? That's the job of people. If indeed you identify with these people, why not take those babies, open your homes and take the babies and children to your homes? But nobody's willing to do that. And these protests are very violent. To set an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor on fire in the name of freedom, isn't that the most hypocritical and disgusting? This is something out of a horror film. What kind of a psychopath does that? What kind of a psychopath sets an elderly woman on fire? The same psychopath that abuse dogs and shoot them and kill them. And yeah, this dog is from South Israel. She would have been a victim. She would have been murdered. She would have been kidnapped or tortured or abused as well. And she's been with dogs their owners were murdered and killed. How could anyone who calls himself a vegan possibly identify with the plight of people who actually live? There's not one person there who said, hey, I don't want this. Because if they protest, they get executed. But guess what? Under Nazi Germany, there were righteous people that stood up for the Nazis. They were willing to risk their lives because they didn't think their Nazi ideology was the right one. And yes, in Gaza, there's no protests of the Hamas. They steal their food, they starve their children, yet the people, and they don't have a bomb shelter. You know what? They have tunnels where they keep the Israeli hostages. Why don't they hide the children in the tunnels? No, those are intended on smuggling hostages and keeping them and torturing them and starving them. So I don't get that. Why isn't there one person in Gaza protesting and saying, no, I don't agree with this. I don't want my children starved. I don't want my children taught to kill other people. I don't want my children brainwashed. I don't want them dancing on coffins of executed babies. I don't want my kids being raised in a place where if you state an opinion contrary to the authorities, you get executed and tortured. I don't want to live in a place where hostages are being kept under the ground and my children don't have safety, food, good education, and a future. Why don't you point the finger to the real problem, the Hamas? And I say that to the left in Israel as well, because I'm really pretty sick and tired of people pointing the finger to the wrong address. Right, Shiva? The dogs really know absolutely and clearly who is their enemy and where's the bad, safe place and where's the place where nobody wants to be. And nobody wants to be because of the fact that they get abused and tortured. And you ask yourself, what kind of people abuse animals? What kind of people starve their own children? What kind of people don't provide for their children's safety and prefer to keep hostages in tunnels rather than build bomb shelters? Those tunnels could have been bomb shelters easily. You could have put your kids in bomb shelters, but no, you prefer to use them as shields. And then these people extreme leftists are supporting it, marching and waving their flags, even though those flags mean only one thing: abuse, torture, abuse of children, animals, anyone. And these are the flags that you choose to wave as a free society. This is your choice. This is whom you support. And this is also to the stupid musicians who really think, I don't know what drugs you're on, if they really think that you should be supporting the Hamas. I really have nothing more to say except if you're a dog, I think the choice is pretty clear where you want to be and who you support. Right, Shiva? Am Israel Chai!